Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stogie Geeks News for June 19th, 2015. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian, joined on the lines via Skype by Will Cooper. Welcome, Will.
Hey, Paul, how's it going today?
Hey, it's going fantastic. This is like our casual Friday Stogie Geeks News. We're like in T-shirts and, we're just kind of relaxing, having a cigar, talking about the latest news in the cigar world. So, Will, what do you got for us?
Yeah, we have some good stories this week. Coming from Ashton Cigars, Ashton has announced the return of the La Aroma de Cuba Noblesse. That was a cigar that was actually introduced in limited production last year, and it was a more premium offering in the La Aroma de Cuba line, which is known to be more of a budget conscious line. But this, they
And you love
released it.
that cigar.
Oh, I love that cigar. I think it's the best La Aroma de Cuba that came out last year. Has a beautiful Ecuadorian Habano Rosado wrapper over Nicaraguan binder and filler, and I believe they're using a double binder on that.
And that's one size?
Well, last year they released it in one size, which was a 6.5 by 52.
Yeah, and I do
Uh,
as I smoke that cigar more and more, Will, it's aging really,
it
really well.
it needed some time. There was no question
Mm.
about it. But this year, they are bringing back the 6.5 by 52, and they're dubbing that size called Coronation. And they're adding a 5.5 by 52 Robusto called Regency. So I'm kind of real excited to see that cigar now in two formats. It's
Hmm.
going to be still limited production. So it's 2,500 boxes of 24 they're making of those. So it appears as though this wasn't a one and done, but more of a limited run every year it's going to turn into now.
Yeah, I can see where they were testing the waters to see how it was selling. I'd imagine it sold pretty well for them, as it was a good cigar and had some nice packaging. A little bit of a high price point, but it lived up to its reputation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was probably the big thing as far as this. La Roma de Cuba is known to be a more budget-friendly line, and they were going for something going with premium. But at least in the North Carolina area, that cigar sold extremely well, and I know retailers were trying to get more of them.
What else you got, Will?
Um, this is what I right now I'd say this is probably gonna be one of the two big cigars that's gonna be released at the IPCPR trade show, and it's called the Davidoff Escurio. Um, and they announced the name of Davidoff Escurio is actually the what was being called the Davidoff Brazil. So now we're seeing Davidoff go into another area of tobacco that they really haven't been playing too much with before under the
So
Davidoff
wait,
umbrella.
it's what's it going to be called? Is it going to be called the Davidoff Brazil, or is it going to be called the Escurio? Which I forget
The,
which one
the,
comes first.
the Escurio.
Is the one that's going to be called?
It's going to be called Escurio. Yes,
Okay,
they're not. Yeah, they're not going to go with Davidoff Brazil.
and it's a Brazilian wrapper.
It has. It's not a Brazilian puro, but
Mm-hmm.
it does have a Brazilian. Actually, it does have a Brazilian wrapper. It has a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. It
Mm-hmm.
uses a Brazilian binder, and then it has a combination of Brazilian and Dominican filler. So there's a good, I'd say, influence of Brazilian tobacco in there, but it's not all Brazilian.
With Davidoff's track record recently, Will, I'm very excited about this. And we've seen this in a lot of examples with Davidoff and even Avo, as we interviewed on the show last night, Scott, the brand manager. Davidoff said, we're going to do Nicaraguan. And everyone's like, well, I wonder what that's going to be like. And it turned out awesome. And then, Davidoff said, well, we're going to try Brazilian. And now we've got this project. And Davidoff said, well, we're going to reblend Winston Churchill. And they did a fantastic job with that. And then, as Scott from Avo was saying last night, they're coming out with an Avo cigar with Nicaraguan tobacco. So they're doing all these things that across the board that we've never seen before. But their track record, Will, is to be right on the money. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think this all comes from the top with their CEO, Hans Christian Hosgaard, who really, if you look at his vision for Davidoff, they want to be innovators. So they are definitely going out of the box, and you're seeing it across all of the brands right now. I mean, you just mentioned two great examples, of obviously Avo and then the Davidoff brand, but look at what they've done with brands such as Camacho as well. So
Hmm.
and you're seeing that innovation go to every level. And I think that is why they have the talent and they have certainly the resources to fulfill that innovation. So it's really working well for them right now.
Absolutely. And so this cigar will be announced at the show. Any idea on the sizes?
Yes, actually, it's interesting. They're going to have three sizes, and they're all going to be short cigars. There's going to be a 3 1/4 by 50. There's going to be a Tubo offering, which is a 4.5 by 54, and then there's going to be a Gran Toro, which is a 5.5 by 58. So there's no 6-inch cigars with this, which I thought was
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't have the box counts at this time though, but like I said, I've heard the pricing is going to be in the Davidoff Nicaragua range, and they're actually going to be doing a soft launch in Miami on the 26th of this month. So there'll be some people who'll get a chance to try it before the show.
Excellent. What else you got, Will?
Final story is actually coming out of New York City, and there's a cigar store in New York City, which is, I'd say, they've become in the last few years one of the destination cigar stores. It's called Cigar Inn, and really, what I've liked about Cigar Inn, and I've been there, is it has that good mix of the big brands and some of the boutique brands. It has a wonderful area to smoke. They have 2 locations. News came this week that the owners have sold that store to a subsidiary of Imperial Tobacco Group. Now, the subsidiary, which is the interesting thing, is it was a name I hadn't heard of before, but certainly the one thing that I thought was really interesting about the whole thing is that actually the subsidiary name I should say is Eastside Tobacco, but Imperial Tobacco also owns JR Cigars. And so JR Cigars is starting to change their image in terms of they're not looking to be
They have, yes.
yeah. They're no longer, if you go on Cigar Coop, we have a whole article where we talk about this transformation, how they're going away from the discount retail outlet into more of a high-end full cigar experience. I think the acquisition of Cigar Inn is something that really fits into the model. Now, they're not coming out and saying it's J&R, other than we know that there, if you kind of align some of the dots, there is a connection, and it seems to fit well in their strategy. I'd say it's generating a mixed reaction right now. I think there are those who say it's an example of the big guy swallowing the small guy, but I tell you, I've seen what they're doing at J&R right now. I like what they're doing, and this is something that I think would be really good to fit into their model. They have certainly the resources to take that store to the next level.
And from what you've described at J&R Cigars, Will, they have transformed their image from a big brand moving lots of product at a lower price to a more hand-selected boutique shop with a really nice place to smoke. So it makes sense that they would go out and acquire these really iconic and really nice cigar lounges and stores.
Yeah, and so they're not basically, they have some discounts obviously, but they're not doing this what I've seen so far at the store is they are pretty much staying at the SRP prices. One fallout though of the lounge, which was a really nice lounge in New York, is that it was actually a Cigar Aficionado branded lounge, and they had all pictures of the magazines and stuff. Well, Cigar Aficionado, and I'll say to their credit, came out and said that unfortunately they now that a cigar company owns that store, they're viewing it as a conflict of interest, so they will be ending the association with the lounge.
Interesting. So I wonder if they had to take those pictures down.
Yeah, I wonder too. I mean, it was actually really nice when you walked in and you saw some of the old covers on the wall and stuff. So it's but that it's business. It's part of the progress.
Excellent. One last thing, Will. When is the IPCPR trade show happening?
July 17th.
Through
July 17th through July 22nd.
Okay. And listeners and viewers can check out the cigar-coop.com website for all of the updates from IPCPR.
Yeah, we will be hitting it real hard. We'll be doing pregame right up until the show. So, and then we'll be doing postgame after the show. So it's going to be plenty of coverage going
And pregame starts pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, we're really already kind of hitting the pregame with a lot of the announcements coming out, and we'll probably, as we get to the end of the month, it's probably going to really be pedal to the metal.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much, Will, and that concludes this edition of the Stogie Geeks News.